Very nice to be here. I've been here with DEF CON kids and then Roots over its existence, and it's always been very inspiring to see the people here trying to learn how to hack, how to be white hat hackers, and how to sort of make the world a better place. And that's a little bit of also what we're trying to do with the Electronic Frontier Foundation. So my organization it is a nonprofit civil liberties organization dedicated to defending your rights online. We try and make a world safe for privacy, for freedom of expression, so give people the freedom to tinker, to play, and one of the areas where this comes most relevant for this crowd is our Coders' Rights Project. And so we're trying to defend people's right to code. This is actually a large part of what EFF has been doing for many years. One of our early cases was establishing that code is speech, that it is something that is protected by the First Amendment, something that is a way of expressing yourself. And this came about in the late 90s when there were some regulations about exporting crypto, encryption technologies. And a professor wanted to publish on the web a encryption program called Snuffle. And by publishing and making it widely available, that came into conflict with these laws that were originally designed for munitions or trying to control exports of weapon technology. And so we went to the court and were able to establish that by publishing this, that was a speech act, and the encryption could be shared even if they thought that it would be crypto. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about white hat hacking. To borrow a phrase from Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And so today and over the next couple of days, a lot of you will be learning how to do some pretty amazing things, how to pick locks, how to sniff packets, and how to operate with technologies in ways those technologies were not intended. And that's sort of the core of what hacking is about, is making sure that when you have a thing, when you have a device, an environment, it's not just as it is given to you, that you don't have to accept a black box and let somebody else determine what you can do with it, but instead you can find new and creative ways to make it something different, make it something better, figure out how it works, take it apart, put it back together again, sometimes in the same way, sometimes in a different way. And these are very powerful tools. But also you should be using them responsibly. And Roots has put up the honor code here. That's a good start. One of the aspects of that is to avoid trouble with the law. And so a few brief words about where some of that can come into play. The main federal anti-hacking law is called the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. It comes into play if you're accessing something without authorization. And so something to look for. This is why it's useful to hack your own devices or come to an environment here where people are providing things with permission for you to hack. And then if you want to hack something that you don't know, go pick it up. Like so, as Nico was mentioning, there are ATMs that are available on eBay. So if you want to learn how to hack an ATM, take that apart, go buy one on eBay, and start hacking on it. Rather than doing one which is live and filled with other people's money. Another law, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. This is something you'll hear a little bit more about tomorrow when Corey is going to talk about digital rights management. It is a law designed to make it more difficult to break copyright protection schemes, things that are trying to make it difficult to copy music and songs in movies. The content industry, the movie and recording industries were concerned that they weren't as good at securing as hackers were at hacking. So rather than improve their security and make better technology, they thought instead they would go to Congress and make it illegal to break their technology. And so they created a special law on that. It does have some exemptions for encryption research, for security research. But if you are going to be hacking in those areas, that is another time where it's good to get some counsel from an attorney. Another thing to think about when you're hacking on things is even if it is your own thing, it may have come with a end-user license agreement, terms of service, some sort of contractual document that limits what you would otherwise be able to do. And I know you see these things, you probably click through them fairly frequently, may not read all the way to the end. And they will often have terms that try and restrict what you are doing. So sometimes if you want to hack on something, get it from a different direction. So we were just talking about buying something on eBay, to use that example of the ATM. If you got it from the original manufacturer, it probably would have some terms and deals and contracts associated with it that would limit what you could do. But if you buy it secondhand, you can usually get it without a contract whatsoever, and then be able to do your cool hacking. So in addition to contracts like EULAs, you may end up in situations where you have a non-disclosure agreement, things that will restrict what you can say, and sometimes this can be a very good thing if you're working with a company and they would like to see how the vendor would like to see what could be done to their device, how it can be hacked, but they would like to work with you on it and say, okay, let's do an NDA and to promote your disclosure to them, and then they can tell the world. So one of the things that we do in our Coders' Rights project is basically two types of things. One is to talk to people before they're doing their research and how to conduct it safely, and that's some of the tips I was just talking to you about. Another is to advise people on how they present about it, how to report the vulnerability. Some of that is just in having conversations with vendors. Unfortunately, some are not cool about having the world know that there are security problems with their product. They'd rather people live in ignorance and still buy the product even though it's flawed, rather than take the time to actually improve it, patch it, and get it fixed. Nevertheless, generally reporting to the vendor, giving them an opportunity to get it fixed is a better way to go. But sometimes, if they're unwilling to fix it and people need to know about the flaw, full disclosure can be appropriate so that the public can know about it. And in those cases, you might get legal threats. This is another time where it's useful to check with a lawyer. And then there's another circumstance which is even a little bit more heady, but when in the course of the research someone may have gotten very close to a line or gone perhaps even beyond it in doing the research, and it creates an interesting tension where if by talking about it, you may end up admitting something that could be used against you, but by not talking about it, the flawed product continues to be out there, and probably someone else can figure out what the flaw is and do bad things with it. So that's another circumstance where it's good to check in with an attorney to try and figure out how to get that information to the public so that the products can get fixed, so you can make the world a better place while not overly endangering yourself. So that's just a brief overview of some of the things about hacking to keep aware of, but you should be really happy to be here because this is a safe place where you do have the authorization to hack and the opportunity, and so go to it, enjoy, hack all the things. Thank you. Question?